Welcome to our 20-minute Laydown Restorative session. You're going to need a pillow, perhaps, a folded blanket. I'm going to be using blocks. You could substitute the blanket or something else that's hard if you don't have a block. But we are going to do a few things laying down that require us to be propped up a little bit. And the pillow, in case you need it for knees or legs when we do some twisting and things like that. So go ahead and get yourself whatever you've got handy. Anything works. And we will get started. So we're going to lay down just nice and flat to begin with. I just want these to be within reach of myself. So we're going to lay down nice and flat to begin with. This is a great little routine that you could do before bed, maybe even first thing in the morning. Just take a nice long stretch. Reach your arms overhead, point your toes. Deep breath. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to bring the knees in. Just keep the rest of your body nice and flat. And switch the attention of your mind. So we naturally go to where the hands meet the knees. I want you to take your focus to the low back, that sacrum area or sacral spine. Any of the sort of bony section, broad section across the low back. That feels good. So with the hands on the knees, if they don't reach, you can certainly do this without touching. Just draw some circles each direction. Close your eyes again, just focus on the connection of the back. Good, and then when you're ready here, just take a nice long stretch again. So when you see a restorative session, maybe at a studio or if you're traveling, restorative typically is a type of class where we will get into a pose and we'll hold it for several minutes. So there's really no flow involved in it at all. It's just very good for, illness, or injury, or just stress relief. Just keep that in mind if you ever see. It's a little bit slower than yin. I'm going to, for the purpose of 20 minutes, take you through a few poses, but we will hold them for quite a while. So we're gonna bring the feet nice and flat here. You can use one of two things. So a blanket would be fine, or a block. And we're gonna come into an assisted bridge. So lifting the hips up just gently and then slide underneath the low back, either the blanket or the block, or maybe you want to put the blanket on top of the block, okay, and take that under the low back. So my tailbone is just off the edge of the block. Okay, but the block is certainly underneath the structure of the pelvis and the hips. So it's not up in the lumbar curve where it would cause your back to be in a lot of stress. You want to feel really supported here. Okay, take whatever structure you're using, take it widthwise so you've got the biggest surface area. We're going to take our hands up beside us, just turning palms up towards the ceiling. Take a few breaths here. This is a very gentle inversion, so it still gets everything lifted up a little higher as inversions do. It brings some really good relief to the spine because it allows gravity just gently to work in the opposite direction. So the tailbone being higher than the neck allows some compression to work out of the spine. It's a great position to be in sometimes if you're watching TV, anything like that. For today, just close your eyes. See if you can work your breath into a belly breath. So inhaling through the nose. And just letting the belly rise towards the ceiling. And then deflate with your exhale. Do your best as you're here just to soften completely in this pose. So not like when we're in a normal bridge and we're engaging the quads and the glutes and the hamstrings. I want you to be really soft. Try to soften the thighs, especially the inner thighs. Even your feet. Just check in, make sure you're not gripping the floor with your toes. We're going to stay here for 5 more deep breaths. Okay, so to bring ourselves out of this assisted bridge, just gently engage the glutes so that we lift ourselves right up, quite supported. And then we'll just slide whatever we've been propping ourselves up with out to the side. Just let your knees fall into just a natural windshield wiper. And what I mean by that is not really forcing any depth of this action. So sometimes people want to really make sure their knees drop all the way one way or the other. Just go to wherever your sort of natural range of motion is here. The whole purpose of restorative yoga is to allow the body to reset. We hold the poses long enough that the brain can make that connection. Really good for calming the nervous system. And like I say, a great sort of session to do in the evening, sort of wind down from your day. So we're going to use this windshield wiper as just a little bit of a warm-up for coming into a couple of reclined twists. So we're going to get into these very gently. Okay, I'm going to place a pillow over off to the right side here. It doesn't really matter what side you go to first. And to bring ourselves into the twist, we are going to roll all the way onto our side. Okay, and then put the pillow underneath your knees. Now, some people, if you can come deep enough into the twist, then you wouldn't need to do this. Another way you can make this even more comfortable and relaxing is to also put something between the thighs. Okay, so that just keeps the hips and the knees in a little bit more of a comfortable position. So allow your head to come all the way down. Your bottom shoulder, so in this case my right shoulder, I'm just going to walk it sideways a little bit and then open my arm to the side. So this twist is coming from the middle back. If you actually feel sort of where the rib cage is on the front, kind of the low ribs, you feel yourself open with the shoulders, you should feel the twist there. So this is quite gentle, or should be gentle, for the low back. I'll give you one more way you can make yourself comfy here as well. So outside shoulder, the shoulder that I'm opening into this twist, if it doesn't quite touch the floor, you can place another pillow or a blanket underneath that shoulder so that you can come into a position where you can just kind of be and relax. Okay, so make yourself comfortable here. Have your palms open up towards the ceiling so that we can relax the hands, relax the arms. And then when I'm in a recline twist, I like to breathe into the top pocket of the abdomen. So in this case for me, left side of the belly. I sort of visualize like I'm blowing a balloon up into that space. So as I take a breath in, just really focusing all my energy and attention and breath into that space of the abdomen. Really good for promoting some circulation and detoxification in the internal organs. And also, the other benefit of breathing I found into the side of the belly when we're in a twist is that it takes us into kind of an area of focus that's away from the low back. So for a lot of people, they have sort of some anxiety or some tension in the low back. And by focusing on the front side of the body in the similar or same location, it causes us to kind of relax around the obliques and into the low back as well. So it's a little mind trick. Let's take maybe 3 more deep breaths here. Good, and then when you're ready, bring your open shoulder back to the side here. We'll just remove all of our gear, okay, and come onto our backs. So we're gonna stay on the center, or in the center here for a second. Take a nice long stretch, both arms overhead, feet extended, and then bring your hands over to the top right side of your mat and your feet over to the bottom right side. So hips and shoulders are going to stay connected through the floor. This is just about coming into a gentle side stretch down this left side, which we just focus the energy of our twist into. You could also hook the left heel over top of the right if you wanted to. So just come into this. This is called banana pose. And it's very relevant when you consider no banana looks the same. So there's not really an end destination here. As long as you're feeling openness or a stretch or elongation, whatever word you want to use, down the left side of the body, then you're in the right spot. See if you can continue to focus breathing into the left side. Maybe this time you'll feel it a little higher up into the rib cage. Try to relax your face as we're into this practice a little longer. You can be more intentional about releasing tension in areas that you have more control over. So the jaw, all those little pesky smile and frown lines in the forehead, corners of the mouth. I even try to relax sort of if you visualize where the sinuses are, so down the side of the nose, kind of across the cheeks. Just take one more breath. And then when you're ready, come back to the center here, just uncross. We're going to bring our feet flat once again. I'll leave it up to you. So either these little windshield wiper actions, or maybe bring the knees in again here. Just get a little movement through that low back. And then we get to do it again on the other side. So get yourself set up. Over goods. So I'll take the pillow over to the side. I'm not going to use the blanket. Actually, maybe I'll demonstrate on this side how the blanket can go under the shoulder. So roll all the way onto the opposite side. Get yourself comfy on the pillow and then extend your left arm out. When you're ready, be really slow and sort of methodical about this. So twisting or opening the body. So if this shoulder will not make it to the floor, then prop it up, as I've shown with the blanket. And then just settle. Try to slowly transition that breath as you get more comfortable into the right pocket of the abdomen. Again, remembering I'm a why person. I like to understand, and I think a lot of people are with me in that. Really breathing and almost pushing energy into this right pocket of the belly will bring some kind of love and attention to that section of the abdomen and of the internal organs. We think about twisting and its effects on the spine. And of course, it has wonderful effects on the spine, but there's also this kind of gentle wringing or twisting of the internal parts of our body as well. So twisting is really lovely for detoxification. Take some breaths here. Great job. Just take a couple more breaths on this side. And then we'll come out of this nice and slowly as well. So pulling your extended arm back over so we're on our side. Okay, and then just very mindfully removing whatever props you have and coming onto our backs. Let's take another stretch here, so reaching nice and long. We'll counter work into the right side again, so banana pose. Feet and hands each going over to the left, opening up this right side of our body and our rib cage. Our side bends and our twists are very similar in that we want to go or move our body into them as much as we can. But with that being said, you'll find a fine line where your breath becomes not as easy. And so that's the point that you want to just back off from just slightly. Make sure you can take some nice full deep breaths. and feel the stretch. So find that sort of sweet spot. Let's take one more nice deep breath. Good, and then bring everything back to the center. So as we finish off this session, Shavasana would be a wonderful option. And Shavasana is something that I didn't used to incorporate very much into my own practice or sometimes even into classes until I really learned and got a deeper understanding of the benefits. And the point of Shavasana, if you bring all your limbs out to kind of a 45-degree angle so we've got some space, just allows you to find heaviness through the body. It's a great meditative position to be in, but it's also just very neutral for the body. You're totally supported. It allows everything to kind of settle and just surrender to gravity, which is good for us. We don't do that often through our day. But for today, I want you to try with me reclined butterfly. So we're going to keep this sort of 45-degree angle with the arms. Bring the bottoms of the feet together and just let your knees open. We're going to finish off this restorative session staying here in reclined butterfly or reclined bound ankle. Again, just try to find softness and heaviness through the body. That's the name of the game. Any clenching, we tend to really clench and protect ourselves through the hips and through the groin. See if as you take a couple of breaths here, if you can just release any tension you're holding in the adductors, so the inner thigh muscles, the pelvic floor, the abdomen. So I would just invite you to stay here for another few breaths. You also could finish things off with Shavasana. But I hope that that was just a nice little introduction to a restorative practice. Give it a try and enjoy. Kind thoughts, kind words, kind hearts. Namaste, my friends.